Welcome, Radiant Souls, to the Ouroboros Outlook for 2023. The Ouroboros is one of my favourite techniques for having a snapshot of just what's going on in our lives at any particular time. For the 2023 Ouroboros Outlook, I put an intention through to find out what was most important for us to focus on or to understand about the upcoming 12 months. Now, for this outlook, I'm working with 7 key playing cards and 2 animal totems, and together they're going to give us an overview of the key themes that will occur during 2023. As always, when I'm selecting the cards, I've made sure that they are clear and pure and ready to be used. So I have flamed them with my blue flame to make sure that the intention that we're looking for is the one that we're using today. And the intention that I've put forward for today's Ouroboros Outlook reading is for the higher good of everyone, for our entire planet, and for the universal good of us all. So anyway, 7 key playing cards. They're just regular cards, and 2 animal totems. So let's take a look at the playing cards, first of all, to find out what is in the cards for us in 2023. Now, I pre-selected these before starting the filming, just to make sure that everything was ready to go. So the first card we've got here, the Ace of Hearts. Hearts is to do with connection, with our purpose, with our sense of belonging. It's our heart center. And the Ace is, for this purpose, number 1. And whenever we're looking at the 1 on the Ouroboros, that's always to do with ourselves. So we're looking for 2023. What am I bringing forward? What can I offer in the way of connection, purpose, belonging, connectedness? What do I have that I can bring forward for not only my own benefit, but for the benefit of everybody and our planet as a whole? So this is about keeping our own vibration high because it's heart-centered. We're looking at some of those higher energies. We're looking not only at love, which we would connect with the heart area, but we're looking at all those types of energies and emotions that have that higher vibration. So this is the positivity. This is feeling good. This is bringing joy and confidence, commitment, all those kinds of things. Just knowing that we're moving towards the right path. When we're working in our heart center, which is one of our upper chakras in our physical body, we're moving away from those lower, deeper, negative energies of fear, of anger, of betrayal, of hurt, of separatism, all those negative type energies, which only bring our vibration down. So the very first card for 2023 is what can you bring to the table in the way of heart connectedness, purpose from you to the rest of the universe. So that's the first one. Second card that's come through here is the 10 of Hearts. So we have another heart connection card. But with it being a 10 is the emotional release when something has finished. It finishes when we're at the 9. That's the last part. So if in this case the 9 was the year of 2022, we're now having a look and in emotional response to what we dealt with on a connectedness, belonging, love, and purpose, and even acceptance of ourselves and acceptance of others. We're looking at how did that play out for me in 2022? Because I'm shutting that door now on that energy. We've got just a few days left before that 2022 energy moves on, and we're right into the full swing of 2023. So this is a good time for us to look at how am I emotionally responding, or how did I emotionally respond to the year that has passed? Could be, it could have been a difficult or a sad year for you. And in that case, it's perfectly fine to feel those emotions of grief, of sadness, of unhappiness. It could have been a happier year, and you may be feeling quite pleased with how things went. But whatever it is, at the 10, it's really important that we process those emotions. When we do not process our emotions, they get stuck in our physical body, and that helps to create illness. It drags our overall vibration down, and we are less able to keep ourselves in an upbeat, healthy, and a positive wellness attitude. So allow those emotions, those heart emotions from 2022 to emerge, and allow them to process. It's really important before you start into the new of 2023. The third card in this year's reading is the Ace of Diamonds. Now back to the ace being a 1, except this time the diamonds represent our soul pathway. So this is the pathway that each of us individually walks. Every single one of us has a unique soul purpose, a unique mission, and we are the absolute perfect person to fulfill our mission. There is no one else, no one at all, no other being that has our exact mission, that has our exact soul purpose, and that can do what we can do. So each one of you is very, very special, and your pathway will not be the same as anyone else's. So there's no point in comparing your journey with your friends, with your families, with your colleagues, with anybody else, because you're here for a particular reason. Now, when we're looking at that soul pathway, that soul purpose, the soul learning that comes up with the diamonds, at the number 1, we're looking at what can I bring to the table at this point. So this is a new soul pathway for you, a new soul purpose, or an angle of your soul purpose emerging. This does not mean that you're going off on a completely different tangent and that your soul purpose this year is different from your soul purpose of last year. Your soul purpose is predetermined. When you come down into this incarnation, you've already got this sorted. It's just that as a 3D person, we forget. We do not remember what arrangements we made before we came onto this planet. So it could be a sharpening up of something that you're doing. It could be another angle or another aspect, or it could be a higher level on that continuum that you are reaching this year. Could be further refinement or discernment connecting to your soul pathway. But what's so great about this is that right at the beginning of 2023, we know we're on a new soul journey. Now, the last 2 or 3 years have been really tough worldwide. And many people are looking at, is this how I want to keep living my life? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? How can I serve others and yet fulfill my own purpose? How can I be more authentic in my golden pathway journey of the soul? Well, this Ace of Diamonds is showing us that this year we're going to be delving into that, and we're going to be elevating our consciousness and our awareness to a new level. Right, so on to card number 4. Well, this is interesting because we've got a bit of a pattern going on here. We've got, with the hearts, the new coming in and the old going out. And then with the diamonds, the soul purpose and the soul pathway, we've got the new coming in. And we've got the Jack, which is another one of the processes that comes after completion. So rather than the emotional response that is shown to us by the 10, the Jack connects to a mental response, an evaluation, a weighing up of what happened. So this is where you're going in with your soul purpose and thinking about, well, how did that go? What kind of progress did I make? How did I think about that? How do I think about myself in relation to my soul pathway? Some of you may have found 2022 a challenging year at a spiritual, as an awareness level, because the energies that were prevailing were so undermining and so negative in many, many ways. The connections and relationships between different people, rather than coming together to work together, started pushing and pulling and different opinions and people thinking, well, if I'm right, you must be wrong, instead of realizing that each and every one of us has a unique pathway, a unique mission, unique contracts, and our own unique truth. Our truth comes from our perspective. We do not see the world in the same way as anybody else. So when we're looking at how we were thinking about what we did on our soul pathway in the last 12 months, it comes down to your perspective of yourself. Forget about anybody else at this point. All of this work comes from inside of us. The only way to grow in our consciousness and our awareness is by going into ourselves and projecting outwards. If we focus so much on materialism, on what's on the outside, what someone else is doing, what some authority is telling us what to do, of all these external worries, then we know that we are losing our pathway to our soul or from our soul. So it's time to go back inside and think about, how did that last 12 months go for me in a soul pathway perspective? Right, card number 5. The 6 of Spades. On the Ouroboros, which has the same numbers as a clock, but has got nothing to do with chronological time. It's just a marker. So the 6 on the Ouroboros clock, when we're looking at the Ouroboros Outlook or the cycle of life reading that we do with this, 6 represents birth. This is the point where a baby would be born, where a new project is birthed. When we entered the 1st of January, the birth of 2023 started. Because it's in spades, this type of birth is going to be something physical and tangible. Now, this is often to do with work, career, hobbies. You might have taken on a new exercise program. You may be starting a new course of study. You may want to improve your health and wellness, so you're changing how you eat. You may want to be more social, so that you have joined, or you're wanting to join a club where you can physically do something with other people. So often around that concept of work and career, but not exclusively that. So 2023 is offering us the opportunity to birth something new on a physical level that will be of benefit to us personally. And by projecting our light out into our communities, our countries, our nations and our universe in general. The physical manifestation of this is of benefit for raising that vibration for everybody, for the entire consciousness of our universe and especially of our planet Earth. So we've got something new being birthed in the way of work or something associated, connected, or along those lines of work. Four of Hearts. We're back to the connection of our heart center, to being able to basically shine our light out and project from our sense of connection, our sense of belonging, and identifying and working with our purpose. When the card turns up in the position of 4, 4 is still in the planning, thinking, organizing phase. This is the big picture stage. If we look at 3 as being the conception of a new idea, a new project, or even a new human being, at the number 3, when we get into the big picture, we're looking at how does this all fit together, rather than the finer details which come later. So we're looking at that bigger picture of how do I bring my connection into what I'm doing? How is the bigger picture of me belonging and having a sense of purpose? Now, this does not mean that we're going to suddenly go and join something or do something, because remember, it's still at a 4, it's still in the planning phase. That starts at the 3 and runs through just until we get to the 6. So it's at 3, 4, 5. That's our planning and organizing stage. So we're doing a lot of thinking about this. We may be getting resources put together so that we can do something in a heartfelt or heart-centered, connected and belonging or purposeful way. But this is all that work that goes on behind the scenes before something is birthed. So we've got that kind of connection that we're looking at in 2023. We're getting ready to move forward with that heart-centeredness and that purpose throughout these 12 months. So, right, we've got 6 of them there. We've got, yep, we do. We've got one final card in the 7-card Ouroboros Outlook. And this is the 6 of Clubs. Now, another birth, except Clubs represents mental ideas and thoughts. So not only are we going to be birthing something physical and tangible this year, we also will be birthing mental and thoughts. The two may be connected. Each one of you will work with these in a way that suits your soul pathway, your mission, your unique contracts. The way they play out for me will not be identical for how they play out for you. Every single one of you will have these occurring in ways that are relevant to you. So it could be that your tangible work and your thinking may birth together, or they could be 2 completely separate things. So this is conceptual. You may have a big idea that you've done all the preparation work for and you're ready to launch. Something that you've been thinking about that you are wanting to process further. But this is head stuff. This is not the tangible that goes on with the spades. So those are the 7 key cards. It's a pretty good spread. It's encompassing every aspect. We've got the heart, the connection, the belonging, and our purpose. We've got our soul pathway. So this is the awareness and consciousness journey that you're on. We've got our physical manifestation, and we've got our mental manifestations all coming to fruition. So what I like to do now is I also work with animal totems. And for me, these put a theme that works alongside these cards. So when I'm doing a 7-card spread, I work with 2 animal totems just to get a broader picture so that we can see where we're going. So the first card that has arrived here is the scarab beetle. And oops, can you see that one? I'll maybe just move these back. There we go. The scarab beetle says magic works through you. Now, I quite like that scarab beetle. It's quite a different kind of creature. We associate that with exotic places and centers of civilization, such as the old Egyptian cultures, that kind of thing, which have had huge influence on some of the practices and the ways of being and the ways of thinking that have come down through the ages into this lifetime. It's an area that fascinates a number of people. But it interests me in that it says magic works through you. Now, we're not necessarily talking spells and potions, though, if that's what you're into. Hey, that's perfectly fine as well. But we're looking at just the raw concept or essence of magic, as in that the more we go within ourselves, the deeper we are in our own authenticity, our own truth, and we're accepting our own unique pathway and those unique concepts, contracts that we have brought into this incarnation that no one else can duplicate. So if you're ever feeling like you're not enough, you're not good enough, you should be this, you should be that, just remember that you are the perfect person to be you. No one else can be you. And you came here with a mission. Just because you do not remember it does not mean that you do not have it. It just means that it takes more time to work through and to allow your mission and your soul pathway to emerge. So the magic comes from that illumination when our heart light, our flame, our inner being radiates out full bore. Our I am presence is illuminating with such vibrant light that we are fully harmonized, coming from our own internal self. Now, when that happens, the magic occurs. That's when our lives come into alignment. We're living from a soul-guided way, and we are able to manifest into our life what is best for us. Our thinking mind might think that's a new car, but our soul could see that totally differently. And it thinks, well, that's just what your ego thinks it wants. But I know, as a soul, as your unique soul and light, that this is what's best for you at the moment. And that's when your magic will appear. So that scarab beetle, that's a beauty to have come out at this time. It shows us that if we are doing our inner work, we are processing and clearing our shadow, and we are intentionally walking our soul pathway, magic can begin to show up in each of our lives, no matter what our current situation. We've got 12 months or 365 days in this annual Ouroboros to be working on these. So one more totem, the dog. A human's best friend, the loyalty of the dog, the unconditional love that our dogs have for us when we treat them well, of course. So much so that they have that really strong heart connection, dog heart connection to us, and many of us do to our dogs as well. So the dog spirit, in essence, is talking about being loyal to what you love. So this is what's important to you on a soul level. This is what's important to you in your connection, in your purpose, in your authenticity. This does not matter what your parent thinks is important for you, or your neighbors think you should be doing, or your boss thinks this is where you should be focused. This is about placing your loyalty, which in this situation is talking about your commitment, your intention, your purposefulness. Where you place that loyalty makes a huge difference. If you place it in something that is just acceptable rather than authentically you, very hard to have that commitment and loyalty to something that is someone else's idea. So identify what is important to you. What is it that you love? It may be that you need to pop somewhere quiet and just reflect on that. Nature's a good place to do this. Out in the fresh air, on the beach, beside the river, whatever works for you. Or just a quiet spot in your garden or at home or in a room that you really enjoy. Even sometimes taking a wee drive somewhere and sitting and just thinking, well, what is it that I really love? Now, we're not talking about what you should love. We're talking about what you do love. And this is at your connectedness. For me, I love dancing. I love singing. So how much commitment or loyalty am I bringing to that part of myself? Am I honoring myself? Or am I saying, well, I'm too busy to do this? Or some other excuse or some other reason. I've got all these things to do for these other people. There's no time for me. Dog is bringing to us that intention to be loyal to what we love, to what's important to us. So there you go. There's a snapshot of the focus and what's important in 2023. Right through from your heart connectedness, your belonging, your sense of purpose, your own soul pathway, awareness, consciousness, spiritual journey, down to your physical activities or your work, and into your thinking. So have a wonderful 2023 and just allow that inner light to shine in each and every one of you. Bye for now.